Okay, Justin.
Thanks, Karine. We're only a couple of weeks away from government funding also running out again. At this point, do you guys have a preferred strategy for how you'd like to see the government funding bill, the two supplemental requests go through? Do you want to see one sort of collective piece of legislation, or?
So I don't have a direct process on that, but certainly we want to see both of them get through, both the domestic supplemental, which we're going to announce this week, and obviously the urgent supplemental as it relates to our national security that we announced last week. Certainly we think Congress should move forward with both of them. They should move forward on getting those passed. As I mentioned, as it relates to the national security request that we made with Ukraine and also Israel, we've seen bipartisan support. We don't believe there should not be a reason for Congress to move forward with that. Once we get the domestic supplemental request out there, obviously we'll have conversations as we are now, continue to have conversations with members of Congress to talk about that piece as well. But we want to see both of them move forward. They're both critical. They're both important. If you think about the domestic, we're talking about child care, right? We're talking about disaster relief fund, all incredibly important to the American people.
When the negotiations were going on before, you guys referenced pretty frequently the deal that former Speaker McCarthy and the president had out of the debt ceiling talks. Yeah. Given the state of Republican leadership right now, do you guys still see that framework as sort of operative, or do you think we'll be starting sort of from square one when they go into the negotiations?
So look, I'm not going to get certainly into hypotheticals from here, how the process is going to go. If we go back to the budget agreement a couple of months ago, it was something that, again, House Republicans, 2/3 of them voted for it. It got bipartisan support. It was something that American people wanted to see, both Republicans and Democrats coming together and delivering for the American people. And so that was incredibly important to the president. We believe that they needed to stick to the deal that they voted on. The president signed that bill, and now we're at a point where we're talking about the supplemental budget, right? Which is something that is common. It is not unusual for the administration to ask for a supplemental request.
Yeah. You said that in addition to sort of disaster relief, it might include child care and other priorities, and so I'm wondering if this may push beyond the sort of deficit cuts that you had agreed to as part of that deal.
No, I understand the question. Look, supplementals are, as you know, not unusual to ask. And these are domestic priorities that the president thinks are incredibly important, that the American people need and want to see. If you think about child care, if you think about the American Rescue Plan, how important it was to have, for example, the CTC and what the difference that made to communities across the country. And so this is something that's been part of the president's platform for some time. And so he's gonna put out his domestic supplemental in the next day or two. He'll lay that out for Congress, and we'll continue to have those conversations. But he thinks the reason he's asking for it because he actually believes it's very important, and it's not unusual for the administration to ask for a supplemental budget.